I ask this in prayer that nobody uses this as a fleshly thing and uses this as a conservative thing. I ask that all these things be committed unto the Lord and not unto the ways of the world. I've seen the mentality that people think that I'm more worthy than somebody else. I'm going to show you guys something, and I want you to look at it very well. And I want you to think about what I am to you. There's a question in that regard to that. And I know everybody's thinking, what the heck is she talking about? When I first got out here, there was 2 churches that needed help with something. But there was a church that opened a door in 2018 to the Iranian people, to the black community. Now, I'm not saying what was trespassing. It was trespassing because you have to wait on the Lord. We all do. You and I. It seems bad. But I will not suffer a black person in this world. Why is this? I don't care. Because a black person in this world has been through more brutality than anybody else in this world, and I'm giving that out straight. And if a white person speaks up about the brutality, they get shot dead. So they're in the same midst of it, the storm. I have seen so much oppression on one community. They've been treated like garbage underneath stuff. Even I with them, when people don't want to give me a job, but they want to take my child. You can't take the holies of holies. No one could come before this child. They'll fall flat dead, okay? But the fact that that's the Ark of the Covenant, and you cannot come near this without burning and singeing and hang. Pillar of salt you want to be. Don't play with it. But one thing I do know is when you turn on a black person because you think you're more clean slate with everybody else, precious as jewel. I look at them and say, they went down to their household. Carrying a burden, but still surpassing everything. If God may be my witness in all truth, God is the light and living way. But God will not stand against evil and evil to say that black people do not matter. All people's lives matter. But the fact that we look at a race card and not looking at a brother and sister. And let me tell you something, black women of older generation that keep on saying black, black, black. You're teaching your children that way. You're a spirit and God gave you that. Correction is better than the death of yourself. Black men, get out of the 50s. We are not in the 50s. We are in the 20s. What your grandparents are teaching you, don't go into that. When you see something on the news, don't look at that. Don't look at that. Right now is your household worth fitting, not the views of the world. But I am tired of the segregation of black, white, black, 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 black. I'm tired of that. I'm tired of the racism. Because if God is going to burn down a house like he's a consuming fire, well, what do you think that he'll do to the whole world? It's enough said and done that I'm not threatened by mankind to say it. I'm knowing this for a fact. Get out of the racism. Look at your brothers and sisters, because when Methuselah had us, it was 969 years she breeded on. When you guys are looking at a segregation box, look at what brought it in here and made chaos. Look at it. When we try to hide something from truth, let me tell you something. Just watch Apocalypse. The movie with John, okay? He said one thing in there, and I'm Jesus, okay, talking to you right now. So I'm going to give you something. John says something on the movie Apocalypse. He said, if you can tell the truth, you can come out of hell. Basically saying that. At the end of the movie, when he was coming through the tunnel, he says, you free yourself from slavery and bondage. You know what hell is? Hell is a slavery mentality. Death is slavery. Hell is what lust is. So when I was looking at and asking the Lord what death and hell was, lust of an eye, keeps you in bondage. Death is this. Death is what it is the Lord had shown me. Death is this. Death is a slavery mentality. I see all kinds of men out there working and scrubbing their knees and knuckles. I see people in slavery in the land of Egypt. Every city has Egypt in it. And it cannot say Canada, Alaska, Brazil, Mexico. Everybody's in slavery, but not admitted to their own household. All over the world, people are slaves to a system, a government system. They sit on a high pretty mantle, but they don't do nothing but look over and see who's running and keep on keeping them in the chain. You ever wonder why you're going to petition, you're not living long, you're getting old and wrinkles? Because you're not enjoying your life. The Lord gave you a life to enjoy, not to be under the thumbs of Pharaoh and the synagogue of Satan. Let me tell you something. A man can admit something because out of fear and reverence, China can. But when it came from China, when it came from Syria, Afghanistan, and all these places, look what liquor store is still open. What alcohol are you drinking? Do you want to become the wineskin that bursts, or do you want to become new wineskin? Think about where you stand in Pharaoh's positioning when you go to the liquor store. While all these places are set up being closed down. When you're lusting after women and children. Yeah, men can look at a child, women can look at a child, and even a man can say something, you beat up my child, I'm going to beat your ass. And a woman can say the same thing. Going to school, I'm going to beat that little girl's butt for kicking my child's ass. You just killed somebody just by saying something like that. Just think about how you say something and interpret something to someone. You judge, you shall be judged in the same contempt. Everybody thinks that they're going to get away with something. No, it's a hard penalty to pay when you're thinking that you're going to get away. God does not play that. It's not the art of confusion. The anti-God will do that. Just because somebody's coming to the end to ask for a pleading because of organs and everything else, yeah, I saw it. But in the same regards, we know where Baal sits at. They did it to their own country to sacrifice organs. And when one is using alcohol to not clean up and reinstate this country, black lives do matter. But all lives matter as well. As Martin Luther King was speaking, Kenth will look with a cheerful child's heart. The blood of the Lamb and all things measured up in one.